it's Paul Ryan. Sitting at the very, very top with 183 million unit sales in the USA are the Beatles, all time. Some in the music industry argue that the Beatles' worldwide success had a lot to do with how they incorporated the sounds of various traditions, religions, and cultures into their music while still making music that rang familiar to fans. The Beatles had a knack to connect with their audience. They had charm, they were funny, they were smart. They weren't your typical showbiz types, but rather seemed like college kids out having fun. They'd struggled to get to the top, and they never ever apologized for their humble origins. They were unconventional, at least compared to the status quo in pop music at the time. They seemed like they'd be fun to hang around with, and in a strange way, I guess they had that everyman appeal that some country music stars have. The Beatles' music appealed to so many because it was fresh, original, exciting. They created music which spanned genres: rock, pop, folk, old standards, ballads, other styles. We saw that with Elvis. Different genres, different styles of music entered into this one sort of glued together style or sound. The tandem, of course, of McCartney and Lennon formed a formidable songwriting team with a seemingly endless supply of ideas and a knack for hooks, bridges, and lyrics. Their songwriting kept growing as they grew. Harrison began contributing as well, and as a team, they experimented with sound. In the studio, the Beatles were way ahead of their time. They pioneered new recording techniques and ideas. Examples are the idea of double-tracking vocals. I'm not sure if they did that with pure double-tracking or with their equipment, but it provided a depth to their later lead vocals. Double tracking is when you record something, then re-record the same thing again, exactly the same, and then combine the tracks. It can give you a thick kind of rich sound to a track, and it can really make it stand out in a song. The Beatles also did multi-track recordings and other studio techniques that are common today, but rare back then. Their focus on sound probably cost them some revenue in the short term, since they'd forego live tours and performances to develop a new, more sophisticated studio sound. They're also one of the very, very first rock groups to have their own production company, Apple Records, and to attempt to manage their own career. Like Elvis and others, the Beatles on the top list came along at the right time. So I wrote this song one morning when the day ahead just looked perfect. It was a late summer day and the sun was coming out. The birds were chirping and the night's mist was disappearing. It's also the title track of my album by the same name. So here it is, Good Day Risin'. Hope you enjoy it. In our house on the street, in our dusty little town, Grandpa, he took me on his knee. He said, son, in this life, there'll be good times and some bad. I've always let the good ones carry me. This was his advice, always looking for the light, keeping careful watch upon the heart. I've summoned it before when trouble's at the door, every time the world was turning dark. Looks like the sun is shining down on me. Looks like the storm has up and gone. The road ahead is clear, no obstacles I see. As I go along my way, no big surprises. Looks like a good day rising. In our house on the street, lost in the city lights, seems like there's good times and some bad. Depends on what you see, things that you believe. I remember Grandpa's talk and what he said. Looks like the sun is shining down on me. Looks like the storm has up and gone. The road ahead is clear, no obstacles I see. As I go along my way, no big surprises. Looks like good day rising.
And now, here is this week's episode of The Musical Life of Freddie Spaghetti.
Britt is one of those people who is beautiful inside and out. She's also very smart, and her high school grades have always been near the top of the class. This year is a big one since she is in her final year now at Cornell University and on the verge of completing a 4-year program to become a doctor of veterinary medicine. The headhunters have already come a-calling. The Cornell program was no easy task since the school only takes in about 100 students each year. It's been a grueling course, but her marks are high, and so she's a shoo-in to be placed at a clinic and location of her choosing. Lately, however, the clinical rotations have been rough. She's tired, she needs a break. All through high school and even now, there have been plenty of boys a-calling, but for Britt, her studies always came first. Through the years, other than a few friends, she simply just didn't have the time or the interest in becoming involved with anyone in any serious way. The one exception was back in high school when she dated a track star named Ned Tyler. At the time, she thought Ned was her future soulmate. They went everywhere together and were known as the king and queen couple of the high school. However, after a few months, it became apparent that Ned had a drinking problem. The two argued, and Ned promised to straighten himself out. But in the end, it was too much to ask, and he kept going back to the booze. After high school, Tyler moved out of state to California on a track scholarship. Britt kept in touch with him for a while, but eventually realized that he wasn't the person she wanted to be with. No one in Cherry Creek knows whatever became of Ned Tyler.
Thanks for listening to this week's Sound Threads. Hope you enjoyed it. Next week we'll have a brand new edition. Hope you will join us then.